Jai Hind students, in standard 6 subject science, this is the video number 1 of second semester and the chapter number is 9, the living organisms, characteristics and its habitats. Living organism, characteristics and habitats. So first of all, we'll see what is the meaning of living organisms. If we look ourselves, we are also a living organisms, right? So we are living organism. Now, what are our characteristics and what is our habitats? So if you take an example of ourselves, we are living organisms and human being. Living organism, human beings. Now, what are our characteristics? For example, we can stand, we can move from one place to another. We can breathe, we can reproduce, we are growing, right? So these are some characteristics of our body, right? Or we can say the characteristics of human beings. And what is the habitat of human being? It is a house. We are living in a house, right? The habitats of human being is house. Now, characteristics if we look of human being, move from place to place, can move from place to place, can breathe, grow, respire, reproduce, etc. These are the some of our characteristics, and our habitat is what is the meaning of habitat? The place where any living organism live is known as habitat. The place where living organism live. For example, if you take human beings, where the human beings lives in a house. So for human beings, house is a habitat, right? What is the habitat? House. House is a habitat of human being, right? In the same way, there are so many living organisms. For example, birds, animals, insects, plants, right? And it has variety. In living organisms, birds, animals, plants, insects, and it has variety. And if we move from place to place, if we go from one place to another place, we will find different type of living organism. We will find different type of living organism. For example, if we will go to coastal area, we can see fish. If we go to coastal area, there are variety of living organisms, and if we move from place to place, we will see different living organisms. For example, if we go to coastal area, we will see fish. you move to mountain side, mountain goat, oh yeah, if you go to desert place, you can see camel, rat, snakes and all these things, right? If you move to forest area, you can see lion, deer, right? So these are the example of living organism of different places. In the same way, if you move from place to place, you will find different kinds of trees also. You will find different kinds of trees also, right? So we have seen that if you move from one place to another place, you can see different organisms in animals and plants. In the same way, you will see plants also different, right? So these are the variety of living organisms beside human beings. These are the variety of living organisms beside human beings. Now we will see adaptation and habitats. Adaptation and habitats. So what is the meaning of habitats? Place or surrounding where living organism lives. Where living organism lives is known as habitat. Now, what is the meaning of adaptation? Adaptation means to adapt condition to survive, to adapt or to accept that condition to survive in a certain place. So, adaptation. Adaptation means the living organisms adapt to survive in that place is known as adaptation. Specific features which help to survive in a specific condition. specific features to survive in a specific condition is known as adaptation. So, to understand this adaptation in a brief, we will take one example. For example, we will take desert. One animal of desert and one animal of sea or river, water, right? Camel and fish. See, this both the animals are totally different. One cannot live without water and one can live without water for a long period. So they have the specific features to survive in that specific condition. For example, if you take a camel, it has long legs, it do not sweat, its urine is dry, so that it needs very less amount of water. In the same way, fish body is streamlined, it has slippery scales, so that it can survive in water. So fish has specific features to survive in water, and camel has specific features to survive in desert where water is less. It is known as adaptation. So camel have specific features to survive in desert and fish has the specific features to survive in water. It is known as adaptation. So fish are able to live in water and camel are able to live in desert. So they are adapting that condition, or they are adapting that atmospheric condition to survive over there, is known as adaptation. Right? Now, see, as we have studied that habitat means the place where living organisms live. Live is known as habitat, right? So, what do habitat provide? Suppose if you want to live or if you want to survive in a specific habitat, what do you need? The basic needs are food, water, shelter. So these are the basic needs, and air, right? So in the same way, habitats provides food, water, shelter, sunlight, air. These things habitat provides. Right? Now, there are two main types of habitats. See, now we will only learn the habitats of plants and animals. So, there are two main types of habitats for plants and animals, and that is first is terrestrial, habitat, and second is aquatic habitat. The plants and animals which which live on land is known as terrestrial habitat. For example, if you take one terrestrial habitat, grassland, forest, desert, mountain, these are the example of terrestrial habitats. So we can see the plants and animals that lives on land are known as terrestrial habitat. Plants and animals lives on land are called terrestrial habitat. Right? An example of terrestrial habitat are forest, desert, mountains, grassland, etc. are the example of terrestrial habitats. Right? Now another habitat are aquatic habitat. Plants and animals that live in water. Plants and animals that live in water are called aquatic habitat. And example of aquatic habitats are ocean, river, ponds, etc. These are some examples of aquatic habitats. So there are two main types of habitats, plants and animals, and they are terrestrial habitats and aquatic habitats. And in terrestrial habitats, example are forest, desert, mountain, and aquatic habitats are river, pond, oceans. Terrestrial habitat means the plants and animal lives on land, and aquatic habitats means plants and animal which lives in water. These are the two main types of habitats, right? So beside living things, there are some non-living things are also there. So we will divide into living things and non-living things. So living things are considered to be abiotic components, and non-living things are considered as abiotic components. For example, which are biotic components? In a place, biotic components of a place, plants and animals. Because plants and animals are living things, so they are considered as the components, and abiotic components. Air, water, soil, rock, sunlight. These all are abiotic components. They are non-living things. So it is a part of any living organism, because this they cannot survive. So they are divided up biotic components and abiotic components. So dear students, today in this chapter we have studied the types of living organisms. We have seen that if we move from different places, there are different living organisms, and their body features are also different. And we have seen that there are different what we mean of habitat, adaptation, and there are main two types of habitats, terrestrial habitats and aquatic habitats. We have seen the example of terrestrial habitats and aquatic habitats, right? And then we have seen biotic components and abiotic components. In next video we will see different kinds of habitats. Thank you.